Chinese visitor to San Francisco may find a taste of home literally a few steps away. But even the most rabid sports fan might want to answer email or sip a latte. Will Beijing provide some of the creature comforts of home to her guests from afar? In this episode, your Olympic homesickness cure might begin at a cafe. And with its emphasis on American comfort food, this one could be called the Homesickness Hospital. Then a visit to Beijing's Almada Restaurant and cuisine from the very first Olympic country, Greece. And this Brazilian chef's advice about Chinese cuisine may surprise you. Also, the solution for a homesick sweet tooth. Plus, if nothing does it for you like Western food, there are signs that you can get your fast food fix in Beijing. Finally, these Western exchange students share their insights into Chinese culture and tips for surviving your trip to the Olympics. All coming up on Beijing Are You Ready? Welcome to the Sculpting in Time Cafe. Another good name for it might be the Homesickness Hospital. Let me read you some of their prescriptions. Smoothies, cherry Coke with ice cream sodas, popcorn, cheesecake, pizza, pepperoni pizza, club sandwich, and all kinds of coffee.
Hi, what can I do for you?
I would like some blueberry cheesecake, please.
Okay.
The multi-level cafe on Weiganzun Road is an airy, relaxed setting for sending email about the Olympics to loved ones back home. Hi, I'm Mary.
Hi.
Do you speak English?
Sure.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Nice
English.
to meet you. What's your name?
English.
English? Where are you from?
I'm Norwegian.
Oh, from Norway.
Yeah. I come here mainly for the wireless internet connection.
Okay, yeah.
But
And the beer.
And the beer. But
So you like the books and the wireless?
the books and the wireless, yeah. And I mean the atmosphere is very much like home also. But I can't say I'm homesick at all.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, a place like this helps.
Yeah.
But that's not the only cure for loneliness here. This homey setting is a popular spot to meet new friends, including many language partners hoping to swap English for Mandarin. Entrepreneurial-minded expats even leave business cards at the entrance, eager to prolong their stay abroad with a little extra cash from language lessons. Its proximity to several of Beijing's finest universities, including the famous Beijing University, makes for an internationally hip, young, and mostly studious clientele. Opened in 1997 by a pair of newlyweds, the Sculpting in Time Cafe proved to be such a hit that they opened 5 more throughout Beijing. China's taste for coffee isn't just the caffeine calling. The draw of coffee culture is a reflection of the growing leisure lifestyle that's popping up in urban Beijing. But the upcoming influx of caffeine-deprived Olympic visitors might also have something to do with it. Beijing's drink of choice is still tea, but at this cafe, the tea is likely to be iced and accompanied by a side of pizza. Okay, look what I found. It's a tray of America. This is ketchup. Come on, you know what it all is. Parmesan cheese from Kraft, Tabasco sauce. Here's the cream, and look, even granulated sugar. And salt and pepper shakers. I don't know if I've seen any salt and pepper shakers around here. Are you guys from America?
I am.
I'm Mary. How are you?
Hi, my name's Remy.
Hey, Remy. How are you? Hi. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Dan from Finland.
Oh, from Finland. That's nice to meet you too. So, how did an American and a Finnish guy end up in China?
Oh, we're classmates.
When you come here, what do you do that makes you feel like home?
Drink iced tea.
The Sculpting in Time Cafe's popularity doesn't mean that Beijing's joining the ranks as a cosmopolitan city. It's a sign that it's already there. But none of that matters to a lonely traveler who's just looking for a taste of home. Beijing has a variety of international cuisines, so curing homesickness here might just mean a short break from Chinese food. And what could be more appropriate at the Olympics than the cuisine of the country that started the Games, Greece? Walk into Beijing's Almada Restaurant, and it's like being instantly transported to Greece. Every detail convinces the eyes, ears, and nose. Greek music sets the mood. The Mosaic Bar is stocked with hard-to-find Greek liquor and wine. And the artwork evokes Greek history and culture. Even if you come here by yourself, you won't be alone. Statues of Greek gods and historical figures will keep you company, envying your every bite. And if the spices on display are actually used in the kitchen, the meal could be the real thing. In fact, nothing about this place reveals that it's actually in Beijing. The only giveaway you're not in Greece is that the waitstaff, wearing authentic Greek costumes, all look a little bit Chinese. Just don't ask them for chopsticks. You can't get them here. Athena is located in Beijing's Embassy District, and it's the only Greek restaurant in the city. Chef Yang Xiaopeng may not be Greek, but he's trained by Greek chefs. And if you come here for the Olympics, Chef Yang has a few gold medal dishes to recommend.
这个呢是头盘，希腊饭卷儿，这里边呢主要是有一些牛肉馅儿，然后拿希腊的这个葡萄叶儿卷好的，这是头盘。然后第二道呢是希腊沙拉，里边有西红柿、黄瓜、菲达 cheese， 还有橄榄，加一点香草，加上点橄榄油，这是很开胃的一道菜。第三道呢是一个主菜，它是希腊的姆萨卡，希腊的姆萨卡。然后呢里边有那个茄子，还有牛肉馅儿，加上一些奶酪，然后焗的。下面呢就是两道甜品，一个呢是希腊的这个酸奶，配上果仁和蜂蜜。再有一个呢就是巴克拉瓦，希腊巴克拉瓦。还有一些那个果仁，还有一些那个酥皮 （filo pastry） inside。
Athena has become popular with locals, but the real test comes from Greek nationals.
大约有几十名希腊人在北京工作生活那么这些客人呢绝大部分呢都来过餐厅，并且呢对我们餐厅呢大都呢都报以呢这个很好的评价。
And based on past experience, Richard Wong has reason to believe he'll see a big increase in business when the 2008 Olympics arrive.
2004年雅典奥运会举办期间那么就有呢更多的中国客人，因为难以去希腊呢直接呢参观奥林匹克运动会而呢愿意呢来到雅典娜希腊餐厅，以求呢能够更多的呢了解有关希腊的呢一些呢知识以及风情以及文化。
In 2008, Athena might help people of every nationality get into the Olympic spirit. This Greek diversion could also be the cure for homesickness. Once you've experienced the tastes, smells, sights, and sounds of Greece, you'll be ready to step back onto the streets of China. Homesickness. The best cure is the people you love and care about, but food is a close second. In Beijing, there's one restaurant Western food lovers are raving about, Almada.
And this is definitely a restaurant that could be in America, in Washington, without any problem, and be the best in town. Great food, great food.
It's probably the best in Beijing, if not the best in China, literally.
When I came here on the recommendation of That's Beijing, the Insider's Guide, and I've gone to all of their restaurants that have won awards, and this one is the one that I definitely think deserved to win Best Restaurant.
Alameda means tree-lined street in Spanish and Portuguese. In this restaurant, the aisles can be international streets, with customers speaking English, French, Arabic, and yes, Chinese too. Alameda offers cutting-edge contemporary cuisine with a Brazilian flair. Why the Brazilian flair? Chef Vivi Gonçalves is from Brazil. She ran successful restaurants in Europe. Then a few years ago, she visited Beijing as a tourist. Inspiration struck soon afterwards.
Beijing, Asian, so different. Yes, China. The world is here. Everybody wants to come to China. What's going on in China? And I think it's the best time for a stay here. Yes, London is ready. São Paulo is ready. New York is ready. San Francisco is ready. Here, you can fly. Here, you can do what you want.
Alamida's signature Brazilian dish is its filet mignon.
Peter, may I have the red wine?
But no restaurant is an Epicurean island. Chef Vivi is also inspired by Beijing. She often uses ingredients found in local markets and combines them into a world fusion cuisine.
There's a French ingredients, Chinese ingredients, a mixture.
The fusion in the food is matched by a kind of fusion in the way the chefs work in the kitchen. The toughest thing in the Alameda kitchen is communication.
Okay, behind you.
This one brie with strawberry.
Okay, you got some reduction or not? Oli, may I have some potatoes, please?
Okay.
You must train in English, yes, and I think for them, every day they are improved their English. Chinese and Brazilian, it's 3 languages inside the kitchen, because my Brazilian chefs don't speak English and don't speak Chinese. But they work together more than 3 years. It's so funny. You can train, you can understand. Then sometimes I'm cooking, I put some Chinese words and Brazilian words, and then now they speak in Portuguese as well. It's funny, it's funny.
Chinese chefs have learned to love ingredients they once found revolting.
In the beginning, oh, this is good, Parmesan is terrible, good cheese is terrible. Now they enjoy, they are learning, you're learning, yes?
I think I like this one cheese. I like this one Gonzalo cheese. I like blue cheese. I love lots of cheese.
The magic that happens between people in the kitchen means nothing unless the food delivers the goods. But Alameda has nothing to worry about in that department. Several prominent Beijing magazines have named Alameda the best restaurant in Beijing for 2 years in a row. You don't get those kind of awards just pleasing expatriate Westerners or projecting profit from Olympic revenue. You have to win over the locals as well. About 30% of Alameda's customers are Beijingers. Many experience tastes and ingredients they've never encountered before.
Cappuccino canapé from Wang. I think it's a trick. The first thing, they come here because the restaurant is famous nowadays, yes? But after they come, they start enjoy. But they start enjoy because I try to learning how I can cook for them as well. There are some tricks, example, the pasta, the correct way for cook pasta is al dente, for Chinese a little hard, yes. And then you try to do the balance for Chinese, then you cook a little more for them. Try to avoid a lot of cheese, try to avoid a lot of salt. Yes.
Whether her customers are local Chinese or Westerners, the reward is the same.
Well, I really enjoy when the people, they are eating. I like see their faces, yes. Everybody, they have a problem. I have a problem, you have a problem, everyone, okay? Sometimes you are happy, sometimes you are a little sad, you don't know why. But if you come here, you must be happy.
But she has advice for newcomers to Beijing, especially those coming for the 2008 Olympic Games. Don't give in to your homesickness too quickly.
First of all, if you come to China, if you travel, okay, please, it's time for learning. Okay, go to Chinese restaurants, need to taste different foods, need to open your mind, your brain, your heart for learning about another culture. Now in Beijing you have plenty of Western food here. You can get your pizza, you can get your McDonald's, you can get your pasta, your filet mignon. But go to Chinese, It's a very good experience. It's unique.
3 years after opening her restaurant, Chef Vivi doesn't get homesick very much, mostly because she's found a new home in an unlikely place.
Do you see yourself in Beijing for a long time? Are you now a Beijinger?
Yes, I am.
Olympic visitors may find that only a sugar fix will cure their homesickness, especially after eating an amazing 9-course Chinese meal.
At the end of a meal in China, you might find something lacking, dessert. Historically, Chinese people haven't been big on desserts. But now, if you're at the Olympics and your sweet tooth is getting the best of you, there's a place you can go. Any one of the nearly 70 Hollyland bakeries in Beijing.
The heart of every bakery, including Hollyland, the ovens. It sounds obvious, but until recently, ovens were very rare in Chinese homes and restaurants. Most cooking is done by frying or steaming. No ovens in China meant no baking, which meant no Western-style cake or bread. The breads that are typical here, such as buns, are steamed. But in 1992, two Chinese brothers saw increasing numbers of Europeans and Americans living in China. They also believed the average Chinese person had a secret sweet tooth just waiting to be tapped. So they bet big bucks that a Western-style bakery would have them rolling in dough. It paid off. Today, Hollyland has more than 500 bakeries and 7,000 employees throughout China. They're packed with both Chinese and Westerners looking for baked goods hot out of the oven. And the Olympics may be a catalyst for even more growth. Ah, there it is. French bread, cheesecake, chocolate cake, and tiramisu. But wait a minute. Next to these delights, there are things no Western bakery would ever dare to concoct. Stuff like baked fish rolls or spicy meat buns with lettuce inside. What gives? It's Hollyland's strategy of catering to both Westerners and local Chinese. Well, it's not quite like a San Francisco bakery where you can get a fresh loaf of sourdough or a blueberry muffin. But if you choose wisely, you should find a temporary cure for your homesick sweet tooth. Still looking for a detour from Chinese food? Cuisine from China's nearby neighbors is a popular option in Beijing. You'll see Japanese and Korean restaurants sprinkled throughout the city. But for those homesick Westerners looking for a fast food fix, Mai Danglao might be the magic words. 20 years ago, any fast food lover would have been out of luck in Beijing. Today, the story couldn't be more different. McDonald's entered the Beijing scene in 1992. As of mid-2007, there were over 100 McDonald's in the capital city alone. McDonald's is the American fast food chain with the most restaurants in China. KFC comes in second on the popularity list. And Starbucks, Xinba in Mandarin, is not on every corner yet, but it's getting there. In 8 years, 250 appeared throughout China. One even opened in the Forbidden City. Starbucks' increasing presence is a telltale sign that China's tea-drinking culture is opening up to coffee and capitalism. But it doesn't come without some resistance. This Starbucks in the middle of the Forbidden City brewed a storm of negative responses. Many felt its presence in this 600-year-old historic site, once home to 24 emperors, diminished Chinese culture. The sentiment motivated an online protest, calling for its removal before the 2008 Olympics. The protest succeeded, and Starbucks was forbidden from the Forbidden City. They closed up shop in July of 2007. Outside the walls of the Forbidden City, fast food is generally popular in Beijing. For better or worse, fast food is synonymous with American culture. Some Chinese people feel that when they step foot into a fast food chain, they're getting more than a happy meal. They're getting a taste of another culture. Depending on which chain you go to, a meal can be pricey compared to an average Chinese restaurant. For visitors seeking to comfort their palates with familiar hamburgers and French fries, spending a few extra bucks isn't a bad exchange. Food may temporarily satisfy your taste for home, but there's no sure cure other than feeling at home in China. Understanding the local culture helps. So to make the city seem a little less foreign, we went to international students living in Beijing for some cultural tips. So Christina, what is one piece of advice that you wish someone had given you before you came to China?
That you should be able to bargain.
Oh.
Because when you buy things here, it's all about bargaining. Because they usually start at a really high price, but you should really go down to half the price or else you'll be cheated.
Michael?
Well, I think one thing that's different here is restaurants. In the US, we're used to people waiting while we decide on what we'd like to order. except here in China, they like standing at the table, standing right next to the table while you're deciding. So for me, it was really hard to get used to this. And I tried asking them in Chinese, please come back in 5 minutes. But I guess my Chinese pronunciation wasn't very good, so they thought I wanted a bowl of zhou, which is a bowl of porridge. So they said they had no porridge at the restaurant, and they kept standing there.
I would have to say bring lots of toilet paper, because if you expect that every bathroom in China is going to have its own public toilet paper for everyone to use, you're dead wrong.
Can you think of one that's been a challenge for you, Nate?
Not quite a challenge, but just something I needed to learn was at the supper table. You're supposed to, in Western culture, it's pretty much, you're still considered a nice guy if you pour yourself your own tea or your own beer and then just pass it on or whatever. Right. But in Chinese culture, there's very you're supposed to pour it for the guest first, basically. And, and there's a certain way that everyone needs to sit at the table. Like the person who's farthest away from the door is the honored guest, especially in a round table in a private room. And so, I've gotten the habit of just pouring everybody else's drinks before I pour my own here.
Any other challenges? Anything that doesn't make sense that...
I have experienced a challenge once when I went to the bathroom. And there's this guy sitting on the floor because they don't have doors between some places they don't have doors on the squat toilets, and I think that's very challenging to have no privacy when you go to the bathroom. And some people don't care, and I think that's a product of living very close, a lot of people, and I guess that's how they get used to it.
A lot of the toilets are squatters here, so just be prepared to not sit down to actually squat.
Okay, tell me the one thing, so you get one thing that you miss about home. Michael.
This is going to sound funny, but tacos. There are Mexican restaurants here in Beijing, but none of them are really good tacos or salsa. Just because living in a multicultural country, there's so much options of food, and tacos are something I really miss.
Christina.
I miss the bread in Norway, because we usually eat bread for breakfast and bring it to school. We're really like a bread country, so I really miss the good bread.
Artan.
The cooking of my mother, I really miss it.
Alex?
I guess I kind of miss just shopping and not having to bargain, because sometimes you get so exhausted by doing that, and then you walk out of the store and feeling so satisfied that you spent 15 minutes bargaining for this coat, and someone says, wow, you really got ripped off in there, you know?
Yes.
So it's kind of frustrating not having a set price and going from that. So.
Yeah. And what do you do to overcome homesickness?
Eat good food.
Eat good food?
Yeah, there's a lot of good restaurants here that actually have decent prices. A lot of good Japanese restaurants, Italian ones. I think it's good.
Christina, what do you do to overcome homesickness?
I call home.
Yeah.
Is it cheap?
I use the internet, so that's really cheap. So I can call home often.
Good.
Yeah.
What else?
I think the internet is key. Just going onto the internet of news sites back home, things you might have done back at home, and just, if you read English news online every once in a while, it's nice to just feel like you're back in your element, because it's the same. The internet is the same.
What advice would you give to an international visitor to Beijing so they wouldn't embarrass themselves?
In America, the tipping culture is everywhere. So
Yes.
you tip everyone, basically. If you tip someone in China, actually they don't want to be tipped. So especially for Americans, do not tip.
What other embarrassing thing can you save me from?
One is just that don't get so angry because traffic is chaotic, because it's always chaotic, and they're used to it, and you should just get used to it. If traffic looked like it did in America, like it looked in China, then everyone would be in an uproar. But in China, they just, they beep through it and, just wait it out and finally end up getting to wherever they need to go. But just don't lose it.
Well, I would say just expect the unexpected. Because if you don't expect something, and maybe you act strangely when you react, you know, people will also react strangely to your reaction. Just expect the unexpected.
Okay. Okay, so your parents are coming to visit you here, or your best friend is coming. What's the one thing they can't miss in Beijing? What do they have to see?
Well, this is going to sound kind of funny. It's not a typical tourist thing, but you're coming to China, the most populated country in the world. I think you have to go on a public bus once. Otherwise, you won't know what the real China's like. If you stay in cabs the whole time, you're not going to know. So go on a public bus at least once.
What else?
Forbidden City. That's one of the biggest attractions in Beijing, and you know, people will tell you, you know, go see some secret stuff, but the Forbidden City is actually one of the most beautiful things that Beijing has, and I think everyone should go see it.
When my mother came to visit, she told me that when she came to the Great Wall, she really knew she was in China. And just, I mean, that's just one of the things you really should try out, because it goes on forever, and you can see it trailing on forever.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything to apologize for with that. You have to see the Great Wall.
Yeah.
We've heard about it. You have to touch it.
Yeah, you have to walk on it. You have to run and play and climb on it.
Really? Christina, what do you think? Where would you take your mom or your very best friend?
I would take them to Hutong. That's the old Beijing. It's near Tiananmen. And there you can just see all the old buildings and just how Beijing was before. And it was really beautiful.
Now that you've heard their suggestions, see the sights for yourself in our next episode. On the next episode, even the most avid sports fans shouldn't miss a visit to the Forbidden City, the world's largest palace complex. Then step back 2,000 years in history and step up onto the Great Wall of China. And why should Olympians get all the exercise? Ride a bike through historic neighborhoods called hutongs. That and more coming your way on the next Beijing Are You Ready? From the Sanli Twin District of Beijing, I'm Mary Windishar. We'll see you next time.
哪里都是尽情自由的回答，荣誉梦想。在这里全部实现。One world, nation come together.